What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Real Reds Talk and welcome to Speed News. We've got plenty of things to get into today. So the topics on the table: huge pressure on Erik ten Hag coming in from Ineos and Jason Wilcox in regards to the style of play. Casemiro and Antony rumours downplayed. They're not going to move. They're going to stay at Manchester United. We're going to take a look at Man United's top 10 earners in terms of wage structure and why they've been giving them contracts and why it's affecting us slightly in the market. And also Andy O'Boyle leaves his position at Manchester United, which was announced in the past couple of days, so we'll kind of gloss over that towards the end. But this is Speed News, as I said, so people who haven't seen this before, we go through the news topics in quick fashion, let's just say. Every minute, we spend 5 minutes on the topic, move on to the next one, and we get through it in precise fashion. So, Erik ten Hag's game model has to start impressing Man United's Ineos-led football department, or he is in danger of being removed, with Man United's style of play so far this season being viewed as underwhelming. There is recognition inside the club that ten Hag has been undermined by injuries and needs time to integrate his 5 summer signings, but also serious concern regarding how he sets up the side. Now, I know Ineos want to give him they want to give him a bit of time to really assess him, because they came in off the back of one of the worst injury records ever on in last season. I mean, like, so it's really, really hard to judge what someone's trying to do when you put in like Wan-Bissaka at left back, or when you put, do you know what I mean? Like, you put in different people in places where they shouldn't be effectively, and having Johnny Evans and Casemiro play alongside each other. If you're trying to play a higher line with those two in the back line, it's fucking impossible, right? So in that regard, it's difficult to really see. Now, as we've all said as a collective and as a community over the summer, he's got the signings that he wanted in. I mean, Dan Ashworth described the window as the best window he's had in 25 windows. So he's clearly impressed with it. I'm sure Ineos are happy with the work that they've done, and I'm sure the manager is as well. You know, you brought in Ugarte, you brought in Yoro, you brought in Xerxes, you brought in De Ligt, and you brought in Mazraoui. 5 very good signings, I would say. Plus the squad that you've already got, which should be challenging for top 4, really, when you look at it. You've got 2 in every position now: Xerxes and Højlund, Rashford, Garnacho, Ahmad, Antony, Bruno Mount, Eriksen, and why did I say Eriksen first? Mainu and Eriksen, or Collier, whichever way you look at it. Casemiro, Ugarte, Mazraoui, Delon, Malacia, Shaw, Yoro, De Ligt, Lissandro, Maguire, and you've got Evans and Lindelof as well, just in case. And then you've got Onana in net as well with Bayern Date. So you're fully covered. There's no places to hide, nowhere to look. Like, this is your season now. The pressure's, the cooker is on you. Last season, a lot of fans give you the benefit of the doubt because, like, listen, any manager, if they would have had those problems, they probably would have finished in a similar place. But now, you started off the season, not much has changed, really. I mean, they've switched to this 4-2-4 structure, pressing structure, where you have 2 kind of, I don't know if you call it false nines, or 2 strikers cutting off passing lanes, and they've got the shadows behind them, so they can't play directly into the midfield, which is what we tried doing against Liverpool. And then you have the wingers, and the wing backs push really high up, which leaves the midfield and the 2 centre backs isolated a little bit, and lack of options. Which a lot of people are questioning the structure, and they're saying it's not working. Why is he not pivoting? Why is he not tweaking it? And he seems to be adamant that this is the style. We've won trophies doing it. But the thing is, United don't just want to be a fucking cup team, do we? Do you know what I'm saying? No one wants to be a cup team. So, absolutely, the pressure should be on him. And I think, you look at the next 3 months, people will say he's got until Christmas, right? But I truly believe if he comes back from this international break, we've got Southampton, Palace, FC 20. Who else have we got? Trying to think. FC Palace. Let me just pull it up. I can't remember the other 2 fixtures. Southampton, Barnsley in the EFL Cup, which, my God, imagine if you lose that one. Crystal Palace, FC 20, Tottenham, and Porto. So, actually, September should be the month where we start to see something, imminent. Something, Ineos want to dominate games. And I don't know if this style can ever do that. I really don't. I don't think it's... I've said it a million times before. I don't think it's sustainable winning leagues and winning Champions League. Simply because I think, just for the nature of how aggressive and direct it is, you've seen a lot of the players in the team are getting muscle injuries. We had like 20 muscle injuries last season. So they were struggling to deal with the workload. Garnacho and Bruno wasn't. They was okay with it. But I don't know. I don't see it like that. Because we aren't dominant in games, are we, really? It's more transitional. It's more... We never ever have control because it's a constant tornado throughout 90 minutes. So you never know. No one ever puts the foot on the ball and goes, right, lads, unless we're trying to build up from the back, in which sometimes we have complications. I mean, you've seen a lot of that against Liverpool where it was just Onana to De Ligt, to Sandro, back to Onana, because the wing-backs are so high up. When Casemiro receives the ball and he's looking for someone to go to, he's like, who the fuck do I play it to? So there's difficulty with the system and the build-up, and I think the players know that as well. And it's tricky. So this is obviously why Ineos are putting the pressure on, and they're saying, you know, the style of play so far is underwhelming. And you cannot, I don't think you can disagree with that at all. I think it's been super underwhelming. Will he change? If we know Erik ten Hag, we know he won't. He'll be stubborn, he'll stick with it, and that ultimately, I think, is what will cost him his job if he doesn't tweak it at all. Maybe Ugarte coming in will help it. Obviously, he eats up a lot more ground and puts out more volume than Casemiro does, like miles more. You've seen the metrics and the stats comparison between those two. So, no doubt that will change with that. Well, it's like David Pearson says, this style of play isn't suitable. You're 100% right. Having a schism of free space for the opposition to midfield, coupled with Onana letting in every target on shot in the goal, is just not good. And that's his signings. That's his signings. You know, I could argue some of them have been successful, and some of them have been really bad. Antony, obviously, is the highest on that list. He's one of the worst signings in United's history. Who knows, maybe he'll make a miraculous comeback this season. Onana, I don't know, like towards the end of last season, he had a good, solid period where he was doing well, but then the first 6 months was an absolute horror show. I mean, he wasn't out of the news. And then this season, he's just looks shaky, innit? Like, sometimes his positioning or shots is very, very bizarre, and that's one of his signings. Malacio we haven't seen for about 18 months. I mean, you can go through the full list. There is... I don't know. I'm just very muddled and confused, and it doesn't help the fact that it's international break, does it? So my head's all over the place. But anyway, this is Speed News, so I am going to move on to the next topic. Please do get your thoughts and feelings in, and smash a like on the video for us if you can. I appreciate all you guys joining me again on this weekly news show. Thank you very much. Right, so on Antony and Casemiro, I mentioned two of them players there. Fabrizio Romano, Mail Sport, have come out saying there's no truth in the rumours linking Antony to Fenerbahce, as he is fully committed to Man United's project. Also, Casemiro is determined to fight for his place at United and will reject any approach. So that's interesting. For me, I never thought these two Brazilians would go anyway. It just, even if you ask Erik ten Hag, I mean, we've spoken about it yesterday with Shreyas and Sam, but I didn't really get a chance to give my full opinion on it. I think you sit in a room with ten Hag now and you say, are you willing to let Antony go out on loan and Casemiro go out on loan? You pay the majority of the wages. He'd probably shake his head and just go, huh, and laugh. You know, like that sarcastic laugh that he does. He did it to journalists the other day and he goes, huh, huh, and he's shaking his head and he's thinking, you're an idiot, mate. No, not a chance would they let them two go. Even though people might look at Antony and they might say, you know, he's not going to get enough game time, not going to do this. We've let Sancho go, so we've got two in each spot now. Ahmad is going to need rotation at some point. You know, Garnacho's definitely going to need rotation at some point. So Antony is going to get game time. When we play, you know, FC20 in the league, for example. Oh, why has my connection gone bad again? Fuck's sake. Sorry, people, 1 second. Why has it gone dead laggy? Keeps doing this. Hopefully it's sorted it out. Yeah, it seems to be okay now. Apologies, people, if it's lagging a bit unwatchable. It keeps having dip. My internet just keeps having dips. I don't know if they're doing something in the area with the connection, or it doesn't help, does it, when you're fucking doing speed news? Anyway, back to Antony. So he's going to... You look at the games that we've got when we get back. Barnsley, I guarantee Antony's probably going to start in that. SC20 in the Europa League. He'll probably have some decent minutes in that game. And then there'll be a couple of others where he'll feature. So he's going to get game time. There's some people saying... I was going to say a lot then. There's not a lot. There's some people saying that they see him coming back into the squad. There was like a kind of a hot take. They think he might have a decent or a better season. I think Aaron said that on the channel. I don't necessarily disagree with it, because I think the reason why I say that is because you can't have much of a worse season than Antony can you? Than what he did, because he did nothing. So the level is like quite literally at the bottom. So you can only improve on that. The thing is with Antony, a lot of people thinking he's like 21, 20. He's like nearly 25. I think he's 25 this year, actually. So a lot to improve. Casemiro, likewise. I mean, he had his worst game in the United shirt ever against Liverpool as well. So it's the worst opposition to have a bad game against. But he was shocking, wasn't it? Absolutely awful. With him, I still think you're going to need him. I wouldn't let him go out on loan. I think it's pointless. He's our only defensive midfielder who's played minutes at the minute. So there was no chance he was ever going to go. Do I think he should get less minutes and be more protected? Absolutely. So I would rather see a system where you're playing, I don't know, let's say Ugarte, Casemiro, or Menu in the midfield. I think that's more structured because you've got the legs of Ugarte, you've got Casemiro who can break the lines and is the creative one as well, and you've got also Kobe Menu who's very composed under pressure. You know, he's never going to drop Bruno Fernandes, and I'm not suggesting he should do that every single game. I'm just saying I feel like certain players would complement each other and the midfield would be much more packed in there. Because sometimes Bruno, he lacks composure. He wants, like Ten Hag, everything done within minutes and seconds. And whereas Kobe Manu can take it, he could dribble past a couple of players. Bruno isn't really that kind of guy, to be honest with you. So I think there will be setups in the season where we see those kind of midfield dynamics. And I'd be excited to see it. But again, guys, let me know your thoughts about Casemiro and Antony. Have United made the right decision on that one? Punch Paint says season starts after the international break. I'm staying positive and feeling dangerous. I still believe in top 4. Big up Real Red Star. Thank you very much, Punch Paint. Appreciate the positivity, man. Did anyone see Amas play against Portugal under 18s? Very composed and comfortable at the inverted fullback role. Surely Ten Hag can give him a few minutes this season. Ten Hag doesn't believe he's ready though. From a defensive point of view, I think pre-season highlighted that a little bit. It was a couple of times, maybe in the Liverpool game and maybe the Arsenal game, if that was the one that he played, where he was out of position and got caught by a winger. And when you're coming up against these elite wingers like Mohamed Salah, Saka, you know, these kind of guys, they'll punish you. And that can damage a guy's confidence. So maybe he just thinks he's not ready yet. I'm not sure. 1 second. To be fair, with Ten Hag, I trust his opinions on that when it comes to youth players, because he's developed, look at Kobe, look at Garnacho. I trust his opinion. Because they want to win with United, that's culture boy culture. Yep. With all our players, our style of play is building up in a 3-2-5 or 3-1-6 formation, looking to press in a 4-4-2 when the opposition have the ball and try to be very aggressive on transition. The issue is with that 3-1-6, Casemiro is quite literally on an island by himself. The only options he has, go back to your centre-backs or your keeper. And by that point, with someone like Liverpool, the way they press, you had Salah, Jota, and Diaz ready to press on their moments. So then he tries turns, he tries to play the ball. You've got the wingers right high up. You know, Mainu's man marks, Bruno's man marks. He's got no one to play to. And he tries playing that pass and it just ends up, you know, in where it is. So that is something that needs to be solved instantly. Which cups do you think Man United can win this season? In all honesty, judging by the way we're playing at the minute, I don't think we'll win any cups. Don't think we'll win any cups. I said the Europa League, I think, when we did the big season prediction, but I don't see it, mate, honestly. Brian's in the chat, big up Brian, saying I can honestly see what we're trying to do, but also have to take into account that Ten Hag is now trying to implement new signings into the 11, which will take time. Patience is key. We'll get there. I like the look at the new signings. I think Mazraoui, by the way, for £15 million is a belter of a signing. A lot of people who was questioning Wan-Bissaka at the time. Why is he gone? Why has he brought Mazraoui in? That's weird, blah, blah, blah. Is anyone disagreeing with that decision now? I don't think so. I'd start Mazraoui at right back. Judging off what I've very small sample size, but judging off what I've seen so far, he's the best right back at the club. No doubt in my mind. Again, he can have tough games, which I've said. I've tried to caution myself a little bit, praising him too much. But he's been our best performance. One of our best performances has come in. I think De Ligt looks pretty solid in the game. I don't think he necessarily made any errors. Won all of his individual duels. Very strong, traditional defender. Exactly what we expected. Xerxes one where I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what we're going to get with him. But again, the difference is with these players now and from the players that we used to buy, like Antony cost up nearly £100 million, right? 90 million quid, I believe he was. Xerxes cost 34 with agent fees. So it's not a major risk if he doesn't work. It's still bad, and obviously you want to get your recruitment right, but it's not as bad as when you spend 100 million on Antony and all the pressure in the world's on him. However, Xerxes coming in basically as a hybrid second choice striker. So the pressure isn't massive on him. And he's been okay. He scored. You know, he missed a couple of chances. I think maybe he needs time to adapt. One of those takes 6 months to get used to the pace of the Premier League because he's used to Serie A where the pace is a lot slower. So it's hard to judge, innit? Ten Hag ball is beautiful. See how they play. I don't know what football you're watching. Big up Nick and Real Red Sox Legends. Thank you very much, Steph. I hope you're well. Bruno has to evolve his game. Take a bit from KDB and Odegaard. Don't change who he is, but evolve Bruno and the system could click. Problem about United fans, they don't have patience to give the manager. How much patience do you want? Ten Hag's been here for 3 years. This is third season now. I would call that patience. Patience was last season. Watching us get slapped 4-0 at Crystal Palace and still saying, back him. His intentions are right. He's trying to do the right thing. He's the right guy. I would say that's patience. Well, on to my next topic. So, I thought this was interesting. So, the Mail Sport put out Manchester United's top 5 earners before. And this is something that we need to address and have a look at. So, Casemiro, £375,000 a week. Bruno Fernandes, £375,000 a week. Marcus Rashford, £350,000 a week. Mason Mount, £250,000 a week. Antony, £200,000 a week. De Ligt, £195k a week. Harry Maguire, £190 a week. Christian Eriksen, £150,000 a week. Luke Shaw, £150,000 a week. And Victor Lindelof. Now, as I was going through those names, I'm sure a lot of you guys who are watching now, straight away were like, well, he doesn't play. He's never fit. He's basically, we want to sell him. Casemiro, £375,000 a week is crazy. Crazy. That is a deal done by predecessors in John Murtough and Richard Arnold, which has just destroyed the wage structure, along with a load of others. Sancho we've removed off the bill, Anthony Martial we've removed off the bill, and Varane we've moved off the bill. So that's a lot of money off it. That's a good start, I would say. Next season, I mean, you're looking at Casemiro, you've got to get his wages. You just give Bruno a new contract, so he will then be the highest earner at the club. People have their issues with Bruno in terms of individual stuff, but if there's anyone who's going to be the highest earner, it should probably be the captain, right? And one of the best performers, typically, usually, I'd say. So that I don't think he should earn that much, but if there's going to be highest earner, I think it should be him. Marcus Rashford, I wish we put him on a bonus incentive contract where it was like, if you replicate what you did in the first season, you can have £300,000 a week. No danger whatsoever. And I'm sure Ineos would have offered something like that. However, it weren't Ineos who gave him this new contract, was it? It was, again, the previous regime. So he kind of stuck with that. He's got a good few years left on it. Mason Mount, another one, bought under previous, not owners, but Richard Arnold and Murtough, £250,000 a week, 1 year left on his deal. We paid $60 million for him. And he's played probably, 15, 20 games max, I'd say. Another issue if he can't stay fit. Antony can't even get a game now, and he's on £200,000 a week. You've got Harry Maguire, who's still plays a decent amount of minutes, but is a second choice centre back on £200,000 a week. That's an issue. But I think he's going to go next season. He's got 1 year left on his deal, so that'll be removed. And then Luke Shaw and Eriksen, again, Shaw never fit and available, 150k a week. And Eriksen, 150k a week, and can't even get a minute, and can't even last more than 20 minutes on the pitch. So, as you can see there, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of the 10 top earners who either don't get minutes, are injured all the time, or we need to move on. Huge problem. And that's a lot of money that you're spunking up the wall. Still, even after removing some of the players that we had. Crazy. Problem about, sorry, read that. Ronnie says Ten Hag has to go. His tactical board and tweak his tactics a bit. Hopefully he can make some changes. Brian Casey saying took Fergie 4 years to win a trophy. But the thing is with Fergie, he was building something you could see. You know what I mean? You can see the progression. I can't see the progression with Eric Ten Hag. He's won trophies. He's won an FA Cup. He's won a Carabao Cup. Fantastic. You tell me the difference from when he first came in to now. We are still wide open to play against. We still concede a lot of goals. It's still chaotic. The transition still ain't right. The midfield situation still ain't right. You know? For me, Casemiro and Rashford have to go next summer. £700,000 a week on those two is crazy. It's nuts, in it. It's absolutely mad. The Glazers had no idea what they were doing. Absolutely crazy wages. No, they don't. They're just like, look, you need to get him. Which is bizarre, but it's not coming out of their pocket, is it? It's coming out of the club's pocket. People call him, like, smart businessmen for, buying United basically on debt and then selling it for, 1 billion. And then, obviously if Ratcliffe ends up being a full percent owner, he'll end up spending like 6 billion in total or whatever. People will call him smart for that and say it's one of the greatest business deals ever. But if they actually manage their club and did what Ineos have been doing now for the past 10, 15 years, they would have made more money and they would have been more successful and you'd have more trophies. So they can't be that smart, can they? And it was the dad who did it. It was Malcolm who did that investment, not them. They're just little rats who were like, waiting at the bottom for all the money to come down. I'd be more critical on Ten Hag if we had the likes of Ineos and Dan Ashworth from day Ten Hag walked into this club. Glazers literally messed up Eric Ten Hag's 2 transfer windows. This is what the rebuild looks like, never going to be perfect. It seems like at least some people are still willing to be patient. Which I understand, I get it. I'm almost at the end of my tether with it because I felt like I gave him a lot of wiggle room last season. You know, we had to watch Crystal Palace 4-0. We had to watch Bournemouth 3-0, City 6-1 or whatever the fuck it was. Liverpool, you know, beat us 3-0. And you look at his record against top 6 clubs since he's come in. It's horrendous. It's so bad. And loads have scored 3 or more goals against us. So if this continues, I'm sorry, I'm ready to pull the plug, me. I am. I really am. If we get back off this international break and we draw against Southampton, we beat Barnsley, but then we're underwhelming against Crystal Palace, we get a draw, and it's very patchy like that again, I won't hesitate to go, listen, if they want to get rid of this guy, I'm okay with it. He has to improve. He has to. And maybe we'll see that when the new signings settle in. And, you know, maybe Ugarte will be the saviour, but I just don't see it, lads. I really don't see it. I hope I'm wrong. I'll be the first to admit it if we start winning games and dominating teams. I'll sit here, I got it absolutely wrong. I am so sorry, Eric. You know, you've proved me wrong. You're dominating games. You're winning games. You're keeping clean sheets. And this style is working perfectly. I don't think we're going to be there. I just really don't. So, we'll see what happens. Please do smash a like on the video. It is an international break, so help us out. Subscribe to the channel. We're on currently 6,769 subs. It's an interesting number. 31 subs of 6,800. So if you are new to the channel, you enjoy content, live news shows, 2 live news shows every single day, watch-alongs, pre-match, match previews, guest interviews, which we're starting out for this week. We've got 3 or 4 guests who are coming on. A couple maybe that are new, some that have been on before, so we're looking to that. We've got Jay Motti coming on from Stretford Paddock, and we've got Alice Abrahams from Alice Talks Footy, and we're working on 2 more as well, which would be, I really want to get one of them on, so hopefully we can sort that out, because I think for tactics, I'm not going to give away who it is, but for tactics, he's the guy. He's good. So, yeah. We also had a bit of news. Again, I don't know if anyone's bothered about this, but it is news, so I have to include it in. Andy O'Boyle will leave his role at Manchester United next week. His departure was officially confirmed by Dan Ashworth and to Dave Brailsford in a staff email, which they praised a significant contribution O'Boyle had made to the football department. Now, this is one of those where you don't really see behind closed doors what goes on, what he's done. I'm sure if Ineos are happy with him, then, you know, he's done a relatively good job. But again, other staff changes that we're seeing, like, they have really, I can't remember them all off the top of my head because there's been that many, but obviously people disagreed with the ones where it was like they had to lay off, was it 250 members of staff or something, who had worked there for quite a while to make, you know, cuts, which was going to save him, you know, 10 million a year or whatever. Brought everyone back in rather from working from home. Like, it seems like they're getting a proper business kind of work ethic in there, and getting rid of certain people who were at board level. So yeah, they're making changes again, and not the staff one had to happen, but the ones at the top that we've seen move on, whether it's medical staff, whether it's Murta, Arnold, whoever it is, they needed to go in order for this fresh start, and I think the majority of people would probably agree with that. Just a quick question to you. This is not based on just something I've seen. I was talking about when we come back from the international break, and this is supposed to be speed news, but I'm rambling on. I was talking after the international break, when Shaw comes back, who do you play at right back? I'll let you guys talk. Who do you play? Do you put Dallo back there and bench Mazraoui? Or what do you do? Because Shaw, when he's fit and available, he is the best left back. I think we can all agree as a collective on that. But now I'm like, I don't know. I'm not sure. Mazraoui, I think Mazraoui should keep his place. Legit. Genuinely. I think he should keep his place. I think he's been better than Dallo this season so far. I think Dallo's been okay. He's you know, and Dallo's on the left-hand side, so it's harder to judge. But I think Mazraoui has to start. I think it has to be Mazraoui and Shaw. And then that's weird, isn't it? Dallo dropping to the bench. Very, very bizarre. So, yeah. We struggled against Newport. It's not the players. How many players had to leave before Everton can thrive? I'm personally willing to wait until the summer for a potentially bigger manager. Maybe that is what happens. But yeah, it is a 25-minute mark, people. So apologies. This is Speed News. We've been through the topics together. I appreciate every single one of you. Check out the shows that we did yesterday if you've missed them. Subscribe to the channel. Smash a like on the video. Have a lovely day, everyone. And we'll see you at 7 o'clock for an hour-long show.